Sundays have always been sacred to me. It gives me a chance to spend time with my family, with my friends, to focus on my faith. And honestly, We Rest on Sundays is a platform that I've created to help you navigate the complexities of the world. I want to spend time having open, honest dialogue with mentors, friends and family, and individuals that I truly believe are exceptional. We're going to focus on love, career, marriage, parenting, and everything in between. And the primary goal here is for us to become the better versions of ourselves every single day. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on Sunday. Perfect, brother, man. I'm excited that you're here, TJ, for real. More than you know.
This is gonna be fun, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
real.
likewise, man. And I'm gonna just jump right on in. TJ, thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it. And you already know how much I admire you and just what you do and your business and how you drive and lead your career. You're a collegiate athlete, played football. You have honestly lived, I think, in my humble opinion, an exceptional career already.
Appreciate it.
You know, and you've been at Chick-fil-A, it's been a decade now.
A decade in August.
A decade in August
Yeah,
that you
man.
have been an owner-operator.
I'm about to be a vet.
Yeah.
10 years in the game, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's amazing. Not even only that, not just an owner-operator, but it's funny, I've had the pleasure, man, and the honor to be your business consultant for 4 years. And honestly, no disrespect, I know I'm not technically on paper your business consultant, but I hope that I'm still able to continue to serve you, you know what I'm saying, going into next. I was like, let me push some stuff his way. And like, because I think that iron sharpens iron. And
Absolutely.
I remember when I first supported you and I was like, man, we got to get him a new restaurant. Like, this is crazy. But y'all were booming. You were booming in sales.
Yeah.
You set the goal to be the number one in sales in the state of Georgia, which you accomplished.
We did.
Now you're number one in sales in the Southeast.
We are.
And $14.5 million in sales out of one location, one freestanding restaurant. Just to say the least, you're a father, you're a husband, and I think you run your business like a collegiate athlete. But, you know, again, I am honored that you were here, but you tell me in your own words, who is TJ Wilson?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I kind of, as an honor and blessing to be here, more so than a business consultant, we're friends. And so like the relationship that we have is very unique and special. And you add a lot of value to my life now. You added a lot of value to my life when you first came on. And through the seasons, even of transition in careers, you've continued to look for ways to add value because of the relationship. And those are the things that I most appreciate about being the person. So being here is only natural for us, I think, to have this conversation. So, you know, who is TJ? I saw that question, and it's interesting. Some of the most easiest questions can be the most difficult to answer. I think TJ, I'm the son of April and Tim Wilson, man. I grew up in a little country town, Rome, Georgia, out in the sticks, man. I remember growing up, my father was a pulpwooder, so he had me up at 5 o'clock. I'm out, you know, cutting down trees in the middle of nowhere, you know, not knowing what I'm doing out there, man, because it wasn't my gift, it wasn't my strength, but my dad was so good at it. And I think at an early age, just some of the things that stuck out to me just about excellence, it's like, man, we out here in the middle of nowhere, nobody can see us, nobody can hear us. But like the level of detail and the work ethic and how my dad would get up and get dressed like he was going to a corner office and he's going out there to put sawdust all over himself and do it over again day after day. And so I think just TJ has become, because of the influence of so many other people, a hard worker. I'm someone who really understands and values people from all seasons and all walks of life. Someone who is consistently trying to learn. And I think that's really important. And also being honest and humble in yourself to know, like, there's so many areas in life I want to be better, man. And I think the pursuit of better is who I am becoming. And I think that's who I always been. I started off as a shy kid, man. 20 years ago, I couldn't sit in front of this camera. You had to call 911 and pick me up. I would faint. Like, I was so shy as a kid. I literally would when I was walking with my mom. I'm the mama's boy. And shout out to all the mama's boys, man. I love my mom. I still do to this day. But I would walk behind her leg, and I would remember people by their shoes.
Wow.
Because I was too nervous to look people in the eye. So like my love for sneakers came as an insecurity of a child of remembering who I was talking to based on those sneakers.
Wow.
I think you got some St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
That's just, and it's in me to this day. So like my love of sneakers started there because it was a security for me. So like I think, you know, man, we are all like complicated people who through our childhood and through our upbringing, man, we've developed and we're becoming who we are. But I love people. I love life, man. I have the most amazing wife on the planet who challenges me every day. And to her, I'm just TJ.
Yeah.
That's it. And TJ needs to be a better husband. Like that is what she's calling and pulling out of me. And those are the things that I love about her, that I don't care what you did at work, you better be better at it at home. Same thing as a father. So if I were to kind of wrap this up, TJ is a man who is learning to be more like Jesus every day. And I think that's the calling for all of us.
Man, it's crazy, man, because I learned something new about you. I didn't know about you being that shy. It actually is very, very surprising, because I think you're beyond like welcoming, inviting, social, gregarious, and that, clearly you've had to work your way up to that. But what's even more surprising is like, dude, you were a football player in college, and honestly, even to this day, when I look at you, because like we're a part of the 5 a.m. in the gym, and
yeah,
the same
we
spot,
yeah.
and you have, I think it's this true and raw discipline about your life and your career and the journey and direction you're going in. But can you just share more about, one, like collegiate athlete, corporate America, then Chick-fil-A? It make sense.
It makes sense a little now. Then it definitely didn't. I remember as a kid, I wrote on this, I had a sheet of paper of like all these goals I wanted to do, and playing football in college was one of them, and the last one was playing the NFL. My favorite athlete growing up was Michael Jordan, and it was the first time I saw somebody who just seemed superhuman to me. Like who, in everything they did, it was flawless, it was effortless, and it never seemed like he was trying to play basketball.
Yeah.
He was just out there being himself. And so like the draw to athletics was, my dad was very handsy, crafty, could build stuff. I couldn't do any of that. My whole I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm adopted and they don't want to tell me or what's going on, but like sports was my thing. And so like I would get out there, and I mean, I grew up in a double wide trailer, probably the size smaller of this room. We had a gravel driveway, we had a basketball court, and we had a pasture. Like that's literally the setup. And I'd learned how to dribble on gravel, and I would bounce the ball and it would bounce this way. And so like I had to figure out how to like navigate. How am I learn how to dribble on gravel?
Yeah.
But it was just me. And it was like, I'm going to learn how to dribble on gravel. And I think at an early age, just that inspiration that Michael Jordan provided me was like, man, if this dude can do this, I got to be able to learn how to dribble on gravel, right? I got to be hungry enough to chase something that I really love and I'm passionate. And I'll be out there until my mom called me in every day, sun up to sundown. So football came after basketball. My first love was basketball.
Wow.
I think my best sport was baseball, but we just didn't have the resources to continue baseball then. Like we didn't have it. And so I had to choose. And it was probably one of the most difficult early decisions as a child that I had to make, and realizing that I couldn't do all the stuff that I want to do because my parents were very honest with me about where we were. And so football, everybody played, so we could all ride together. So it was easier for us to make that happen. I was left-handed, so I was a little different, a little unique, but then I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the team aspect. I fell in love with the idea that, man, like me and these 10 dudes, we can legally knock these guys out? Like, is this for real? So like, it just became fun for me, and it was a way for me to express myself and being seen for the gifts that I had. And I started playing when I was 8, and I didn't stop until I was 23, and so I was fortunate enough again to get a scholarship to play football at Furman University. But my parents told me, like, academics or athletics, or you're not going.
Wow.
Like they were very honest with me, and I appreciate that. At the time I was like, well, that just don't seem fair. But that's really what it was. So my sister, she's older, Tequila, she's doing great. She lives up in Charlotte. She was the super smart academic one. I had to work really hard for these A's. But athletically, it came very natural. And so football became my ticket. My ticket to a life that wasn't better, but it was something that I knew that was pulling me, that wanted more, wanted to see more, wanted to experience more. And so football became the vehicle. And so I had the fortune to play at Furman University. It was hard. right? It's different when you go from high school to college because you realize you just not as good as you thought you were. And I remember as soon as I got to Furman, like the first thing the captain of the football team told us, and he said, "You're only as good as your incoming class."
Wow.
And so like having that mindset in business, I think about it the same way. You're only as good as the newest person that you're interviewing and hiring, because that person is the person who 2-3 years from now are going to carry this banner, going to carry this legacy, because you're going to be gone and it won't even matter anymore if you haven't done enough to invest in that next generation of talent. And so like conceptually, football created so much of my identity and understanding of team dynamics, of sacrifice, of it's not about you, of everybody doing their job. But it feels good to win.
Yeah.
We were the winningest 4-year program. I think we maybe still are in Furman history. We won 2 conference championships. We went to a national championship. Unfortunately, we lost. I was all SoCon 2 years, played with a great group of guys. And my 2 college roommates and best friends played in the NFL. So my career at Furman, like I couldn't have been more blessed and fortunate to play with such a great group of guys who many of us keep in touch now. But football helped shape me, and football actually brought out of me what God had put into me that I just didn't really understand it at that point in time. And so that's kind of next chapter. I guess that's where we're about to go next.
Yeah, man. So tell me more, right? Because I think that, one, I want to know, how did you find Chick-fil-A and land there? And then the second part of that question is, I've had the privilege of having a front row seat as your business consultant, where I got to see you really bring football to your business.
Yeah.
Right? Like you continue to have an athlete's mindset, even though you're, what is it, 17 years removed from?
Man, come on, don't do that. I'm 20, 2004. I graduated. It's a 21 years since I played football, but yeah.
21 years since you played football.
21 years.
And you continue to stay in the mindset of an athlete when it comes to your business. And I think that's what sets you apart. So sorry to be long-winded, but
No, you good.
How did you find Chick-fil-A? And then can you tell us a little bit more about the athlete's mindset that you're bringing into running your business?
Yeah, so Chick-fil-A was never in the plan. It was never in the cards. It was not even a thought. In 2023, I found the Lord, and I wasn't looking for him.
Wow.
Me and some of my friends, we were about to go hang out and have a great time, but we had a mandatory team meeting where the chaplain for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was coming to speak to us that night. And I was like kicking and dragging, like, y'all, I ain't going. Like, they won't notice 100 of us. There ain't no big deal. But we win. And it was at that moment, that moment, that night, that decision changed and shaped not only football, but like the trajectory of my life, like that moment. Because he didn't preach to us, he just told us the truth. And I think him just being super raw and honest, like, I don't care if y'all, he said it I know y'all don't want to be here. I know where y'all want to be. I know what y'all want to be doing. It was like me and him were sitting there having a conversation like me and you are, and it's 99 dudes in there. And I remember like at the end of, I won't even call it a sermon, at the end of the conversation that he was having with us, he told us to close his eyes. He said, I want y'all to imagine something. He said, I want y'all to imagine your life's over and you're standing at the steps about to enter heaven, right? And the most important person in your life, think about whoever that is standing in front of you. Your mom, your cousin, your sister, your brother, somebody who raised you, somebody super important. And I want you to imagine Jesus entering them into heaven and them turning back and looking at you, smiling with anticipation that he's about to let you in, and he tells you no. Like, I remember him saying that, and I remember the feeling I have 22 years later. Like, he said, I don't want you to even think about necessarily the disappointment you're gonna feel. I want you to visually look at the other person who did everything in their life to get you to that point and how disappointed they are that you ain't coming. Crush me.
Yeah.
It literally like, I felt like I stopped breathing for a second. And so it was like, man, I'm done with the foolishness. Like instantly, like done.
I gotta get in.
I gotta get in. That's it. And so from that point on, football became a vehicle for me to discover what God created me to do. I think football got me to that place to have that conversation, to be able to say, okay, TJ, like this is how I've used this in this season of your life. And now, like in this next season, football is still gonna be there, but it's gonna be a part of who you're becoming, and it's not gonna be what you do. And so I think sometimes people have a difference between what I love to do in a career and who God created me to be and your calling. And so those are two very separate things. And I think leading up into that point, it was the first, but then like understanding the latter, it was like, man, I love football. But at that moment I said, I don't want to play football anymore.
Yeah.
I had a great season. That was my junior year. Had a great senior year. I had the opportunity to sign with some scouts. Again, both my college roommates went and played NFL football, but it was at that moment I started searching for like, God, what are you calling me to do? I decided I'm either gonna be a chaplain in the military or I'm gonna do some type of ministry in something outside of a church. I didn't want the traditional Sunday, like I didn't want that. And so Chick-fil-A became an opportunity where one of my now best friends in life, Clayton Dyson, he was a junior. I just started having conversations with him. We were very like-minded, and again, I didn't know that until I met the Lord, and I was like, man, I know there's something out here I'm supposed to do that's different. And he said, man, have you ever thought about Chick-fil-A? I said, why would I go work for a restaurant? Like, in college, like that season's done, right?
Yeah.
He said, I think you and I need to have more conversation because I love business and I love ministry.
Yeah.
And I love the community. And so when I started listening to stuff that I wanted to do, he was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Check.
Check. And so I just started digging, doing research, learning about who Truett was, learning about this brand, learning about the biblical principles. Like, and it was like, oh, this is it. So at 23, no money, no experience, I said, I need that restaurant. So I applied. I applied fully expecting.
Never been in a restaurant.
I don't need that. This is what God said I'm supposed to be doing. So like, let's get it at 23. And I fully expected like, thank you, Lord. Like I'm about to own a restaurant right out of college, man. This is a miracle. It was a miracle, all right. They called me back and it was the nicest no I ever got in my life. The nicest no I ever got. Because it was like, hey, no, we're not gonna select you. But if you really think that this is where you're supposed to be, you need to go work in a restaurant and see if this is really what you're called to do. I remember the lady telling me that. And it was sincere. And everything that he had told me about the business I experienced was somebody telling me no to the job that I had applied for. And I knew that's where I was supposed to be. And so like from there I left college. I moved to North Augusta, South Carolina. I moved into a single wide trailer with 3 dudes in the rough area of town. And I started making $10 an hour working at Chick-fil-A, popping Henny's open, pulling chicken out. Opening restaurant, closed the restaurant, doing mid-shift, 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours. Like I was working so much, my girlfriend, now wife, like we didn't even see each other for a while because I had moved and she was still in Greenville. So it was hard. Yeah. Because reality hit me in that what God had planned for me didn't feel good. I remember nights laying in that bed. I talked to my best friend, man, he's in, like they just living it up out here. Hey, T, man, come hang out with me. And man, I got to work in the morning. You sure? No, I ain't sure no more because this is not it. I remember like those sleepless nights, so like I missed it. And I think a lot of people feel like that. Like you can be in a season where like, this ain't where I'm supposed to be, but is that what you say or that's what God says? So like being faithful and being steadfast and pushing through and like God saying like, can I trust you with this little thing? Because 15 years later, that little thing said is a really big thing, right? I didn't know that then, right? But I was certain though. I think, and that's one thing, again, with my dad, it was like, he didn't care about the money, he didn't care about fame, he didn't care about notoriety. It was like, hey, like, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and man, am I gonna be good at it. And that was it. So, 2004, fast forward 11 years later, how you started off all these things that I've done, man, that didn't happen because of me. That happened because of what God was doing in me in 2004, in 2005, in 2006. And my girlfriend, my fiance, my wife, paying for lunch and paying for dinners and coming down to see me. And like literally the place that we stayed, it was so old and dusty that she couldn't go inside because her asthma was bad, but she stuck with me. It was never about what I could do. It was never about the dream. It was like, hey, if this is what you say God called you to do, I'm in. I don't care if we got to go to Wendy's.
Yep.
I don't care if you gotta cook me some ribs on this grill that y'all bought on consignment. Straight, like this is real, like this is how it was. But and you said something earlier just in conversation, it's like I stopped chasing something, and like I think when you pursue God, the thing that God has for you starts pursuing you. And you can't put a time on it though. Like I couldn't say, I thought 2004 I was good at that restaurant. I didn't become an operator in 2015. I had 2 and 3 other careers before that even happened, right? And had I got distracted or had I allowed my personal frustrations or feelings to sidetrack me and feel like, man, you know what? I got an education from one of the top 50 liberal arts schools in the country. I can do anything. Why am I working at this restaurant for $10 an hour? Because that's what God told me to do. And I think the hard part about the journey is we get lost in the destination, man. And so like fast forward 11 years later, yeah, like all of that football, it's all still in me because that is who God created me to be from like, I am competitive, I am driven. I love having fun, man. Too much so. That's a different, maybe we'll do another podcast. My wife will tell you like, when we get home, like she always like, hey, nobody better get hurt because I love living. I love living, man. And so like if I'm we're not gonna work together. We're gonna do life together, right? And in my life, we have a good time. We enjoy each other. We pray for each other. We talk about life together. We talk about how this business impacts life together. And we're gonna be united in one common goal. And it's never about chicken. It's never about customers. It's about this shared pursuit of becoming everything and discovering everything that God created us to be. We're just using this platform called Chick-fil-A to do that. So like living out who we're becoming inside of this platform called Chick-fil-A, it enables us to take our lives to wherever we want it to be. No different than 10 years before. That's what God did for me. He used Chick-fil-A working in a restaurant to create the opportunity for us to have this conversation about me owning a restaurant. And all the success I've had, I give all the glory and praise to him because I know that God is just working through me for the next TJ, for the next Amira, for the next Lathan, my son, for the next Logan, my daughter, for the next Leah, my daughter, because it's never about you. It's never about the sales. It's never about the numbers. It's always about like, who am I supposed to be influencing, impacting, inspiring right now in this moment?
Yeah.
Right, this is where I'm supposed to be on Sunday. I was supposed to be here last week, my bad. But I was with my family having a good time, I'm sorry. But like, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And what you're doing this podcast, this is where you're supposed to be right now. And somebody, somewhere, at some point, will hear something that we're talking about, and then God's gonna give them a decision. He's gonna give them the 2 doors. They're like, hey, follow me or follow yourself. And it's up to us to choose. And so making that choice is the hardest thing I've ever done. But I couldn't be more grateful about the opportunities that God has given me with people since I did that.
Man, you hit on so many, no pun intended, but nuggets there that are just, I mean, real jewels and gems. And when I think about you and how you live your life, and it's funny because you just shared like the Wendy story, and I kid you not, Indy and I just talked about a Wendy story. Long story short, I swear, I cannot make this up, TJ. I kid you not. Today, we were in college and I was super broke, and it was Valentine's Day, and we tried to go to a restaurant. There are no reservations available at all, and I was like, this is what we really got. And honestly, that's all I really have money for in reality.
Right.
And for me, you know, and she was like, that was one of my favorite moments. And like, we were eating and like, it was a great day and a great night, all the things. But long story short, for me, it made it very clear. I was like, oh, this is my person. Cause like, she is down, and I don't have anything to offer her today, but she knows this discipline, this grind, this work, like we'll build whatever it is that you want to build. I assure you we will.
Right.
But right now, I just don't have it. But I'm going to follow and walk in the direction of God. So can we talk a little bit about your business? So you have a freestanding restaurant off of Wesley Chapel Road in Decatur. And you correct me if I misspeak, but you were serving in an underserved Black and brown community, and not just serving, but dominating, like legitimately dominating, to the point where I was texting you, I don't know, all the time, but like last August, we're gonna hit 15 million this year. And it's like, you're right there to legitimately hitting 15 million. You guys are #1 in sales in the Southeast. So, being fully transparent, serving in a community that honestly, I don't think anybody thought was possible other than you. So can you share more about like, how are you doing this? How are you able to hit this volume, hit these numbers, serve in this community, lead these individuals, right? And as you know, Black people, we can be very transparent as Black people. We bring all of our issues to work, into the environment, everywhere we go. So you're navigating 1,000 things, not just from the team, but from the community as well, which makes it even harder to do the job. So can you just share more about Wesley Chapel and like the how and the why, and how it correlates to like your purpose?
Yeah. So before I got selected at Chick-fil-A, I was running branches for Wells Fargo in an underserved, primarily African American community. Very similar. I had a completely African American staff. I'd probably say 95% of my customers were African American. When I took over that branch, it was very similar. It was so much potential, but full of pessimism.
Yeah.
And so, and that starts from the top down. And again, not taking anything or I think Wells Fargo gave me so many tools and so many gifts. And so like, I'm not disparaging them, but I'm just being honest. Because to your point, like if everybody looks at this thing as like, man, like we just trying to survive. We're not trying to thrive. We ain't even talking about thriving. We're trying to keep the lights on. Then the mentality from the guest to the employee to the community, we start to represent the worst part of what we aren't. And so for me, like, I remember before I got selected, I went there and I sat in the back corner of the restaurant as a customer for probably about 5 hours. Just sat there. Didn't say anything. They took my order, got my food. And I sat there and I looked around. I drove around the community and I said, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. It was never like, we're gonna be first. Like that was never the thought process. It was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I think something happens when God meets you, meets opportunity, meets obedience. And so like, it wasn't what I did. God had already planned this outcome. I was just the vehicle that he knew was crazy enough to believe him that it could happen. I mean, and that's not a business plan. We can get into like the strategy and the tactics, but when I got there, I sat there, I was like, okay. And I said, we're gonna kill it. I remember walking away and Amir was like, hey, what do you think, my wife? I was like, oh, this is it. I knew that I knew that I knew in that moment, just like I knew that I knew that I knew when I knew that my football career was over. I knew it was. And I was at 100% peace with it. And so like when I knew this was so, I was 100% at peace, like excited. And I remember just in conversations with Chick-fil-A, they told me about the restaurant. They told me about the opportunity. They told me about the challenges. And I said, when do we start? So when I got there, the first thing was this. It was clear to me that I'm a big proponent of, excuse me, we're gonna call it for what it is. Let's be honest with each other. Y'all don't like working here, do you?
Yeah.
I had these conversations. Well, tell me why you don't like working here. Customers, what do you not like about this restaurant? Tell me some of the issues in the community. Like, let's get it all out, because once we get it all out, we're not gonna talk about it no more. Now we're gonna go to work. And that was it. My first meeting with the team, October 1st, I think 2015, it was on a Sunday. My first meeting, I walked in there and I told every single person there, like, most of y'all won't be here very long. And I appreciate that. And I love y'all for who y'all are. But I'm about to say some things that are gonna rub you the wrong way. And what I need for you to do is be honest with yourself and honest with me, because if you don't buy in 100%, this will be so uncomfortable for you that you won't enjoy it. And one thing we're gonna do starting today, like, we're gonna love what we do. And more importantly, we're gonna love who God created us to be together. And so like, that's when a document that I created called Why We Exist was the first thing I told them. Why we exist is like, we are only here to do these things. And the first one was to empower ourselves to have a lifelong impact on our team, guests, and community by serving with excellence. And so when it comes to that, it's empowering means you're choosing. So like, we're gonna choose to show up to impact, period. before the sandwich gets wrapped, before the order gets taken, before the drive-through cart moves, before we start looking at numbers, we're going to show up and be so intentional about how we treat each other and how we treat guests that we're going to become a magnet for excellence in this business. And like, that's what we did, Ben. It was that set the tone. And everybody, every day, they saw me in there opening the restaurant.
Yep.
It was 5 to 12. I go home from 12 to 2. I'll go back to the restaurant from 2 to close. I think I did that for 6 months straight. My wife has pictures and videos of me. When I would come home at 12 to 2, I'll be playing with the kids on the couch and I'll be just dead asleep. They'd be just crawling all over me. Alarm go off, I get up and go back. And it was this just consistent, and I don't know where God gave me the energy to do it because I didn't have it, but I knew like they have to see something different from somebody who looks like them, who sounds like them, who recognizes them, who values them, who appreciates them, and not allow people to make excuses for where they are. We're not gonna do that anymore. And so like, that's who I was then, that's who I am now. And so like building the business, I didn't build a business, I started building people. Brick by brick, conversation after conversation, meeting after meeting, discipline upon discipline upon discipline. My kitchen director, who's been with me 10 years, she's been with Chick-fil-A 25 years, she tells me to this day, she said, TJ, when I first met you, she said, I hated you. She said, I did. She said, I hated you. She said, because you wouldn't leave me alone and you wouldn't allow me to get away with anything.
Yeah.
She said, you were on me about how a lettuce looked on a sandwich.
Yep.
She said, and I didn't understand that. She said, but 10 years later, I really want to thank you. And I don't say that to boast on the podcast. What I'm saying is that I wanted them to receive the value, recognition, and appreciation for the God-given talents, abilities, and gifts that they had. And then I wanted the customers to see how great we can be as a community. And so like the platform of Chick-fil-A and the people who were there, we became magnets for like what the community can be. So like, the Bible talks about being light in darkness. The community wasn't dark. The community just didn't think there was any light. So like somebody's got to shine, somebody's got to turn the lights on, right? And the light wasn't the business. The lights was the individuals in the business showing up as professionals, as smart, African-American, young, old, AM, PM, doesn't matter. Like high school diplomas, GEDs, college, I didn't care. Like Jesus said, I'm bringing everybody into the house. You know what I'm saying? And when they got there, it was like, hey, you, young man, you a woman, like, you're going to be great at this. And just jumping in that ocean with them, man. And so, like, it's funny. It's like sometimes I wonder, you know, man, God, why did you choose me to have this much fun work? But it's like, man, I just can't thank him enough for it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's I appreciate you sharing that, and the reason why I think I get emotional, because it's like we have an opportunity to really just serve, right? Like, and to do the work in the community that historically hasn't had that and hasn't had that opportunity. You've lived there, I've lived there, I've experienced where it's like, I just need somebody. I just need a shot. I just like somebody that sees me, somebody that's going to come in and try, somebody that's going to lead and show the way that I need them to lead. And it was very clear and evident my very first time meeting you, coming into your restaurant, sitting down. I'm like, he's going to be feeling me out, not really know what I'm about, anything like that. But it was like I felt and I knew exactly the type of leader that you were within that very first meeting. I'm like, this dude is beyond invested in this community. He's beyond invested in this team. He's beyond invested in these customers. He's actually beyond invested in me. He just wants to know, who are you? Are you going to be who I know that you can be? Or are you going to be lazy and be, not show up how I need you to show up as I want my business consultant to show up? So I knew if I didn't cheat the relationship, he's not going to cheat me either.
And I think you just said something so important there. Like, don't cheat the relationship and don't miss your moment. Don't miss it. Because you don't know if you're going to get another one. Like, we just had this conversation. I was talking to a group. I have a customer who came in. A young lady worked for me 7 years ago. Super quiet, just a regular team member. I didn't even really know her that well. Had a conversation with a customer, and come to find out she's Miss Fort Valley. Worked for me 7 years ago. So the customer told me about it. He's telling me about this young lady who literally was just a team member, had a conversation with him, worked for me. She comes back to my restaurant. She's got more accolades than everybody in the restaurant, including me. And I'm sitting back and I'm watching this young lady that I spent this much time with, who was just excelling in life. And it's like, man, wow. And when she tells her story, it's like, I started at Chick-fil-A, Wesley Chapel Road, right? And that story is true for hundreds of thousands of individuals all across the world. But for us, and you know this, we have to be more intentional. Stop looking at what's on the outside. Stop judging books by color. Stop saying what our communities aren't. Because they are not, because we have not. Right? And then we gotta start stepping. We gotta plan ourselves, and we gotta stay. Like the Bible talks about abiding. Like we gotta abide. Like we gotta get into the heart and the depths of these communities that look like ours, and we have to help shape and craft them into what God created in me. Because again, like this restaurant, these people, they aren't mine. Right. My job is to be a good steward of what God has given me. And there's been times in my life I haven't been. There's been times in my life I done a terrible job, right? But like I'm over investing in getting things corrected, right? The Bible talks about repentance isn't saying I'm sorry. It's turning and going in a different direction. And sometimes in life you need that. But like with these people, they get tired. What I recognize is like people are used to looking at them saying like, I know this is gonna be hard for you. I don't know if you can. I know this isn't what you want to do, right? I know you haven't went to school yet. All of this stuff that honestly, I said, it doesn't matter. My 3 top leaders, one of them has a degree. 2 of them don't. We run the busiest restaurant in the Southeast. We're the 4th busiest in the country. I'll put them against anybody. And again, I don't say that for me. I say that because they gave me an opportunity to believe what's possible for them. That's it. They gave me an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to trust this guy with my career, right? Because he wants to add value. And I think this is also something true. In our communities, people feel like there's something people want to take or extract from it. I don't want to extract anything from the community. I want to invest. There's a difference between investment and expenses. And when it comes to my team, I'm going, and you said this, I'm going to over-invest. I'm betting the house on these 140 people that I have because I know what they're capable of. And sometimes, most of the time, they don't even know. And then you look up and now they say, wow, God put greatness in me too. And when people get a taste of that, again, it's like college football. Like you don't know what it's like to win until you won. It's like, wait. You know, like, ah, man, like this feels good. Because now, you know what? I am just as smart. I am just as capable. I am just as resourceful. I do have access, right? And so, like, when the conversation shifts from like, can I, to like, hey, what else can I do? TJ, how far can this go? And so, like, being in that season now, like, again, I can't tell you how much fun it is. And again, there's strategy, there's tactics, there's running a business, there's a business plan, but it probably looks way different than what anybody imagined. Our team meetings, it's like a pep rally. We're in there playing beast games. We got the DJ going. It is like I want the adrenaline. Like I want the fun. Like I want people to be fulfilled. And that's the thing, like teaching people how to feel. Sometimes there ain't gonna be nobody to fill you up. I'm not with them on Sundays. I'm only with them for 8. So I got 8 hours, right, to give them everything I got. And so like as a business leader or as an entrepreneur, like someone who's aspiring to take their business to another level, you got to ask yourself, how much are you invested in the people that you need to take your business to that level? Because if you're invested in the business going to where you want to go for you, then there's no added value or mutual exchange for them. And in 2025, people aren't going to deal with that.
Right.
It just ain't going to happen. And so like it's constantly a mutual exchange of values. And I asked them all the time, hey, what can we do better? What don't y'all like? What am I not good at? What am I not doing? And I got to sit back and I got to take it. But like that says something about the respect level that I have for the individuals who are running this restaurant business that we're in, right? And so, like, yeah, we're gonna keep climbing because we're growing people and we're growing the business. We're growing people, we're growing the business.
Yeah.
When people grow, the business grows. As people you can add more value to them, they can add more value to the guests. And now the guests start to say, like, hey,
It's different.
it is way different. Even yesterday, and it's funny, like even 2-3 days ago, I'm changing everything in it. Like it's never about, we're never there. And you said something earlier about chasing. Like, we're not chasing first. We're pursuing a vision.
Yeah.
Because a vision, you playing an infinite game. If it's a number, man, when I hit that number, like, it's nothing else there for me. If it was always about being first, I would need to find another career 2 years ago. I've already checked that box. So like it deflates me as a leader. You know what I'm saying? So it's like our vision to be the most influential Chick-fil-A team in the chain. It's like, how many of these 140 can I send out? So if we think about like what Jesus did, Jesus was on the earth 3.5 years, but his entire time was about preparing a team to send out to create millions of others, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's what great leaders do. I try to model what I do as a leader after Jesus. And I know I went off on a tangent, but
You didn't, man. You did not at all. And it's all, I think it's value add that we need to hear because, I think that we can get distracted from time to time. And what I mean by that is like, even, we live in Southwest Atlanta, Indiana, right?
Yeah.
We can, and I don't mean this in a boastful way, but like we can live where we want to live, but like by design, we wanted to live there in the community by the AUC, right? And like down the street from Vinings, down the street from all the other, restaurants that are in quote unquote underserved or urban markets. And it has been beautiful and rewarding as we continue to invest back into the community, right? And we've been very, very intentional. But I do want to talk a little bit more about you specifically and really seeing how you lead. Like I think that like you just see this thing different, or like the plays on the board different. And what I mean by that is you just said, hey, on my leadership team, I have one person that has their degree, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I don't care. So when you are betting on talent and or investing on talent, what is it that you are looking for when you seek out talent and you're like, yeah, you can come on this team versus like, it may not be a good fit, right? And like because you're a leader. Honestly, TJ, you are always recalibrating, always. Like I can see you processing as we meet and we talk. I'm like, this dude is thinking out loud because he's about to like pivot away from that, So like, how do you cultivate talent? How do you seek out talent? How do you invite people to come to be on your leadership team?
So a couple of thoughts on that. So like we have a phrase in my restaurant. We hire for character, train for skill, coach to increase capacity, and pay for performance. Simple. You don't hire talent. Anybody who I hire from the outside has no idea about me, the vision, the team, the structure. They don't know, right? So what I'm hiring is character. I'm hiring the person who I can shape and mold into this hunter mindset led person who can create a lot of discipline in their life and execute a lot of discipline in the business. And so when I don't look for talent, I look for character, because when I find it, I can shape it. If I find talent without character, then they're trying to shape the business into something different than what it is for me, which isn't about the business, right? High character individuals, I want to influence other individuals. High talent individuals, I don't want them to influence high character people, because it's about the business. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we shift our mindset from the business becoming not about the people and people development into business results, we become Wall Street, right? I might as well have shareholders. Understand what I'm saying? Yep. So like when it comes to like people ask that all the time, like, hey, where'd you find your leaders? We didn't find them. Yeah. We developed them. That's how they became who they are. And it's not just it's like, hey, like, I need you to go read this book and watch this podcast. Yep. I need you to sit down with you and I need you to teach me this information that I taught you. And I need you to be okay with the feedback. Yep. I need to this is going to be we say growth is an uncomfortable mindset in the restaurant. Because if you're comfortable, you can't be growing. And if you're growing, you're giving. So you have to be uncomfortable to grow. And then once you grow, now you're giving back. And so like, as I continue to grow, I give. right? And it's not that I give because it's just like, hey, here you go. Here's $100. No, I give you more access and more resources so you can take your growth to the next level. And so when we're having these conversations, it's very intentional, it's very purposeful, but it's very uncomfortable.
Yep.
When we meet in a very uncomfortable way, and we talk about like, hey, we're going to hunt
Yep.
in this meeting. I scrapped the name meeting from our playbook. We don't meet anywhere. We call them leadership movements. Because a movement is a group of people who have the like minds, like aims, like desires, and are going in the same direction. So we're not sitting here talking for me to waste time or money. What we're doing is we're creating a movement. So when we leave here, things are going to happen.
Yep.
It's about the doing. So I don't recruit talent from colleges. I don't have a hiring platform. We have open interviews Monday at 4 p.m. If you're interested, come see us. Right now, we're fully staffed, so I haven't interviewed anybody in probably 45 days. Probably have about 300-400 people waiting to be interviewed. So that speaks volumes to my team.
Yeah.
Right? And again, take TJ out of this. Like, my team has bought into who I am and how we do things. And now it's not me. This is how we do business together.
Yeah.
We talk about leadership cohesiveness. Like, we're cohesive in that, like, we hire for character. And we fire for character.
Yeah. Yep.
That's it. I'm never going to fire you for doing a bad job.
Yep.
Because that's a skill issue.
Mm-hmm.
We fire people with the will issues. Because it's will or skill.
Yep.
Right? Will is I won't. Skill is I can't. So you can and you can't or you won't. Right? I won't, you see you later.
Yep.
And that's happened, right? So when you talk about talent, like, it's on the leader to develop talent. If you are trying to hire somebody to check a box because their resume say that they can fulfill your role, but your business, what about your vision? So what's more important? The role? I need somebody to do this thing, or I need somebody to understand why I'm doing this thing and where we're going. We will run understaffed if I don't have the right people. Like, absolutely not. We need 20 people. We got 20 people to interview. None of them fit the vision. Keep going. On to the next one. Hey, everybody, like, we 6 days. Let's get it. Okay. Because of the vision. Everybody's vision focused. And, like, the preferred future, like, this is what we're creating. And we can't let somebody in the family who's going to slow us down from the vision, because we're hunters. So we're pursuing this thing. And if somebody is pulling us back, we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
So I think the mindset around talent in business had to be shaped and cultivated by the leader's why. And whatever that why is, your people have to match that. And if they don't, I'm not going to hire them. And so, like, I don't hire external leaders. I've hired 2 in my 10-year career, and I will never do it again. They did a good job. I'm not taking anything away from them. That was my decision. How am I going to hire you to influence people that you have no relationship with?
Yeah.
Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's what John Maxwell says. And influence is having the ability to shape and mold the character of an individual, right? That's like me bringing somebody in to parent my children who my children don't know.
Yep.
What can they do for them?
Nothing.
Anybody who's hiring external leaders, I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm saying this is my philosophy about my business is predicated on people. Leadership predicates how we develop talent. The level of talent tells me how far the business can go. Getting to 14.5 million had nothing to do with the business. It had to do with the character, because we out here getting it to do that type of volume. And it ain't one day, it ain't 1 hour. It's 16 hours. And when it's go time, there is no stopping. Right? And we are all in, running full speed. And if you have one chink in the armor, one chink, like, you're done. So like, I gotta be able to count on you 100%, all day, all the time. You team member who's been here 1 day, and you leader who's been here 10 years. I gotta be able to count on y'all, because y'all equally add the same amount of value. Y'all just play different roles in the business. And so, like, philosophically, it's like, TJ, my job is to be the vision expert of the business. I play a different role. I'm not more valuable.
Right.
I'm where God has me doing the thing that he calls me to do 100% every day, all in. I model what that looks like for everybody else. But because I'm the owner and you're the team member, I don't add more value than you do. And so on the business, when we're all here, right? And so it feels very natural, and it feels very, you can tell, like, it feels very awkward when people are in the restaurant who don't buy into the vision.
Yeah, yep. You can feel it.
For them. So 9 times out of 10, they will self-select.
Yep.
Hey, this is too hard. Hey, you want me to know too much. Hey, I got to do all this just to wrap Sam. I really got to remember your vision and values in 21 days. Are you going to fire me? Oh, man, this is a cult. I mean, I've had that, like, just full transparency. I had a guy tell me that, TJ, this is a cult. Right? I said, no. You're wrong. This is a family.
Yeah.
And these are our family values.
Uh-huh.
And to be a part of the family, you got to know the values.
Yep. It's very, very simple, man. And it's very simple. And I think for you, because you mentioned it a few times in the last, statements that you're sharing, just revolving around having a hunter mindset.
Yeah.
You and I talk about it a lot, and it's crazy, man, because it's like seeing you in the gym 5 a.m. a lot of mornings with your son is like, this dude, I mean, like, it's amazing to see, but also a lot of me is like, man, I wish that I had that, right? Like as a boy and being able to just be, and I wish that I knew you before I was, I met you when I was 30, so like before I was in my 30s, where it was like, because if I was able to consume a lot of this information and the mindset and the mantras and the spirit that you have, it would have been invaluable. But can you just share more about the hunter mindset and exactly what you mean by that?
Yeah, so it's so interesting. A couple years ago, we call them hospitality professionals. A guy by the name Mr. Redwine. He's one of my older gentlemen who works with me. Love this dude today. He's from Dade County, man. So he's from Miami. He and I chop it up all the time about sports and different things. And he asked me had I seen this clip of Deion when he got introduced as a head coach of Colorado. Hadn't seen it. He said, you got to watch it. So I watched it. And I remember Deion telling his team, we're hunting. What do you mean by that? So I listened to this clip a couple times. And when it hit me, it was like, whoa. Oh, we changing this, right? We thought we had been, we're doing this different. So like, shout out to Dion, because he gave me the thought about, hey, are we here? Like, are we just here because while we exist says we have to do these things and we're here to do a job? Are we hungry? Is it something that we want? Or are we hunters? Are we pursuing, capturing, and killing things that are in our way from what God has for us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when I thought about that, I was like, we want to be good. We are good. But like, are we really pursuing? So in 2023, in our leadership meeting, I rolled out this idea of this hunter mindset. This idea that like the obstacles, the difficulties, the challenges in our lives, like, are we just like, okay, we're gonna get through it? Or are we attacking this thing like, hey, if I don't get through this, I'm gonna die.
Right.
Like with the level of intensity and urgency that you see in hunters. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of, and at first the team was like, man, that's deep. But like, TJ, I don't know. But I just kept pushing at it. Mm-hmm. And I kept asking them, and I kept challenging them, well, give me feedback. Tell me what I'm saying is outside of where we want to go. And I'm like, no, you're right. And so now, oh man, this idea of pursuing, this idea of discovering, this idea of like every 4 seconds in the world somebody dies. So like I don't have a second to waste waiting, hoping, asking, thinking. Like I gotta be doing. We have to be moving. Every second. We don't know when that 4 seconds is going to be our time. I don't know if my 13-year-old son's going to have an opportunity to work out with me on Tuesday, but I got Monday. And so it reaffirmed this idea of like, man, time is the greatest commodity that we have, and wasting seconds and wasting minutes and wasting days thinking that we have time that God never promised is a arrogant mindset for us to take on when like God has given me the opportunity right now to pursue my 13-year-old son, because in 4 years he's gonna graduate and be gone. Then what?
Yeah.
I gotta hope that everything that God put in me, I have put in him, because now he's got to go out there and pursue in this world.
Yeah.
So like it's my responsibility to teach people to do exactly what I saw Jesus did. Jesus said, man, my Father's always working, so I am too. I'm not sleeping right now.
I got work to do. And so I think that idea just so like shot life into me. Like it just gave me something like, ooh, like it was like an adrenaline rush of like, man, like it inspired me to do more. It inspired me to go harder. And so like with the team, we say it all the time, you hungry or you hunting? Because if you want something, like if you ask me for something, I can give it to you. What have you learned from that?
Yep.
Right? Or I can teach you how to pursue something. The story in the Bible about Jesus walking past a guy, the paralytic who laid there for over 30 years. And he laid there for over 30 years asking people to help him.
Yep.
And when Jesus saw the man, and you know how the story goes, when Jesus saw the man, he asked the man a question. What do you want? He didn't give him none. What do you want? Because for 30 years, the man had been asking people for something, but he never told them what he wanted.
Yep.
So pursuing is me telling you, like, hey, I want to go to college. Well, college is free for you. Go. I'm checking in with you every week. You better be in class and you better make A's. No exceptions. What are you waiting on?
Mm-hmm.
Get up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Jesus told the man. Get up and walk.
Mm-hmm.
You could have been walking 30 years ago, but you asking for something that you have never told somebody what you want. So that idea of pursuing, it just flips on his head, this idea of like, man, like, are we out here asking like, hey man, like, I need help. Well, but what do you want though?
Yep. Yep.
Right? I'm struggling. What do you want to be happening though? I need help in my business. What do you want to happen for your business?
Right.
So it's just a subtle transition of thought mindset that takes us from the place of being reactive to being ultra proactive in pursuing the thing that we want instead of asking and waiting and hoping for it to happen. And so that idea of hunting, like, again, it started there, and it's created a wave in the restaurant, because like when we see it, and it's not just me, like people see it like, are you hunting today though? Because if you hunting, that would have looked different. Looks like you just here. Yep. Look like you just a paycheck player, and we don't have those on our team. So just the level of like honesty and transparency, and again, it infiltrates the restaurant, man, and it just makes it more fun than it already is. So, yeah.
Man, you hit again on so many facets, and you and I, we talk about this a lot. But for me, every single night before I go to bed, I ask myself, did I earn my check? Did I earn my day? Right? It's that easy for me. And especially that check part, because for me, I believe that I have to be a good steward.
Yeah.
So if you're going to pay me as much as you pay me to do this job, I need to do it exceptionally well, and I need to put my all behind it. And that's not just Chick-fil-A and the work that I do for corporate.
Right.
That's the work that I do for We Rest on Sundays, the work that I do being a father, a husband, a mentor, a good friend, a frat brother, you name it, right? Being active in the community. I'm always asking myself, how am I showing up? How am I doing? Am I hunting? Like, was I complacent or lazy? And I think that being around you and like seeing you literally do the same thing and showing up, it's like throwing jet fuel on a fire, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, that's the piece where it's like, I laugh when you tell the story where you're like, you know, your kitchen director's like, I didn't like you at first, you know, because boy, do I get that from time to time. And people are like, yo, who does this dude think he is? It's like, don't worry about, it's not who I think that I am. It's who God designed me to be at the end of the day. You may not get it today. You may not understand it today. But once you actually spend more time with me, you realize like, no, this dude really wants to serve. He really wants to serve. And he wants to serve at the highest level. And the minute that you understand that about me, you will stop asking the questions. You'll stop allowing yourself to be frustrated or being like, oh, he wants to just be the best. It's like, no. I want to be the best version of Ben.
Right.
And in order to do so, I have to hunt every single day. Every day. I say we rest on Sundays. My wife, India, was like, you don't rest on Sunday. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, but like, here we are. But you know, again, it's really, really good to hear you respond and share that answer, man. But I just a few more quick questions for you, TJ. But what advice would you give to Black entrepreneurs that are aspiring to have a positive impact on the community and the Black youth, but but maybe like honestly like struggling or questioning it. And let me take it a click down from that, right? I think that it's very easy for people from time to time, especially us as a race, black people, for us to say, oh, I'm not dealing with that over there. Like, that's a bunch of foolishness over there. I'm not even going to touch it.
Sure.
But what's the advice would you give? You know exactly what I'm talking about when I mention that. What's the advice that you give to those that may be struggling with that are like, I want to have a positive impact on the black community, but I don't know if the black community wants me to have a positive impact on it.
So I was sitting at a meeting about a couple months ago with the superintendent in Decatur County. This was probably October. And I heard this gentleman start to speak about the community. And so I think there's this answer I have, it's a twofold answer. So number one, he said something that so resonated with me that I took what he said, and every year in our restaurant we have a theme, and I'm using it this year. And what he said was something to the effect of like, hey, it's our time, it's our turn, or it's our fault. And we talking about education. And so when he said that, it was like a light bulb went off, and God was like, 2025, that's exactly where y'all are. And it ain't y'all, TJ, that's where you are. It's your time, it's your turn, or it's your fault. And it goes back to the hunter mindset. We can talk about all the things the black community isn't. We can talk about all the things that we haven't gained. We can talk about what happened last week, last month, last year. We can talk about what happened 4 years ago. And all of that's going to be true. What is it going to change? Nothing. So if God has put me here today, guess what? It's my time to change it. It's my turn to change it. Or if it doesn't change, it's my fault. Period. And so like we can say, oh, it's so much to do. And it is a lot of this. It's a lot of work to do. But we got to pick this shovel up and we got to start digging today. Because if we continue to wait generation after generation after generation, we'll still be waiting. Me and my wife, we went to, we had a marriage retreat at Couples Academy. It's amazing. I would highly recommend it. And the guy said something.
Shout it out.
Shout out to Roland, Janella, Couples Academy. Amazing. So if you are married, you need to be investing more in your marriage than anything in your life, because God says as the husband, you are the leader. And so spending that time, that intentional time with your wife, communicate something to your wife that transcends anything that you can do for her or with her. Right. And so like marriage retreats are needed. Marriage retreats aren't utilized enough, and making intentional investments in your marriage goes beyond date nights and gifts and vacations. Right. So like 17 years in the game, I can tell you that with a shadow of a doubt, there's been times in my life I've been better at business than a husband. And Amira Wilson has told me that. And like, I appreciate her challenging me to be a better husband. So she's an amazing woman, beautiful woman. So babe, I love you. But what he told me, Roland told me this day one. He said, hey, we're not here to we ain't really worried about y'all. We sit on that couch like, we ain't worried about y'all. Now I'm thinking, well, why we here? I can go back to my crib. He said, we're fighting for your children. We're fighting for your children's children. Because it's not about you. And when we start to think about our communities holistically, and we say, hey, it's not about me. It's not about what I don't want to deal with. It's not about the problems that exist. It's about the problems that will continue to perpetuate and be worse for my kids.
Yep.
That they're going to have to deal with because I did nothing. So enough of this foolishness about how hard it is, about the problems, about the challenges. Yeah, let's fix them. Let's stop waiting. Let's stop hoping. Let's stop asking. Let's stop writing grants. Let's stop just praying. That's a part of it. But the Bible says faith without works is dead. So like it's a lot of churches in the black community, but it ain't a lot of doing.
Yeah.
And that's no shade on African American churches. They're needed and they're vital, but like it has to be more than us praying and waiting for God to move in a way that we're not moving. If we're there and we see the need, like let's address it. And so like the needs in our community, education. Hey, like if you work for me, you can go to college for free. Retirement, hey, if you work for me, like I'm gonna make sure I help you secure a retirement. You can be like I want to, and it's not it's like
God has just positioned me to say, like, TJ, like, when your work here is done, the legacy of this community will have nothing to do with you being number one in sales, number four in transactions, all the success that you had in Chick-fil-A. It will be like, has this community become a better version of what it's supposed to be because of the people who are here now putting in the work that you helped start, that you helped lead? So like we have, and again, I say this, like we have so much talent, we have so much ability, we have so much capability, we have so much love for each other, then why isn't that love showing up? And if it's too hard and it stays that way, it's our fault. So like I have no plans unless God calls me to do something different, but I'm gonna be at Wesley Chapel Road until he calls me somewhere else. Like I don't have an exit strategy. I don't have a plan B because I don't think God gives us plan B. I think that's a lie of the enemy because it gives you a way not to give 100% to plan A. Because you ain't hunting. So like if it's truly about who you are called to be, then you will do the work. If it's about your career, then you will go somewhere that's comfortable. Because here's the thing, like when God calls you to do something, it's probably not going to be what you thought it was going to be. Yeah. It's probably not going to be where you thought it was going to be, and it probably isn't going to be doing what you thought it was doing. Peter was a fisherman. He wasn't no preacher. Matter of fact, he was a lying, cussing fisherman. He wasn't no preacher. Preached the first sermon after Jesus was resurrected and 3,000 people got saved, though. Because he found his calling. His career was a fisherman. But what did Jesus say? I'm going to take, just like we talked about football, I'm going to take what you love, I'm going to make you fishermen of men. God's going to use what you love to do for his glory if you let him. And our communities is where it's needed the most.
Yeah. Man, you hit the home run on that one, man. I appreciate it more than you know, and I think that so many of us need to hear that, right? Because I think we can get lost, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but like lost in prayer, right? And only prayer. But it's like you need to have prayer and purpose and marry the two together. And when you marry those two together, like God will show you the way and the path. Boy, did I bump my head in my early 20s in my career. In dating, in everything. Yeah. I was so locked in, man, when I'm at Deloitte and I'm at Accenture, I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be a management consultant, blah, blah. It's the sexy work. That work was fluff. Did I learn skills and tools? Sure, I learned skills and tools, absolutely, right? And how to navigate conversations with executives, right? Thank you, got that. However, though, they were charging a higher bill rate because of my education, my background, and me being black, and they weren't adding that same value back into me. They weren't really adding that same value back into the client, if I'm being honest with you. It was just the sexiness of the title of the company that we were working for. And then God shows me this path of Chick-fil-A. And do you know what I said when I was interviewing? What? And I became so uneasy and so, like, I'm talking to the recruiter. I'm like, hey, I don't think that y'all can afford me. And she was like, hey, reel it in. She's black. Reel it in. Shout out to Shayna. Close friend, still in our business. Like, literally, she was like, reel it in. She laughed. She was like, we can afford you and we will afford you. This business cares about your character and the quality of hire that we are bringing into our family. Period. Right? Boy, was that my last time talking about salary and what my expectations were and this, that, and the other. Then finally you get to they extend you an offer before even talking about, and then finally that last conversation, they have a conversation with you. And they're like, well, what are your expectations? And I give them a number. They go $15,000 over what my number was. And my number was high. Do you understand? Like, God will show you the path, but you have to have discipline and purpose and discernment and trust the process as well.
Because unfortunately, like we reduce life down to resources and not the source. Because again, if God is the source, he already knows all the things that we're worried about, we're concerned about, our fears, our insecurities. Like, God knows that about us. And it's funny, like me and my wife were having a conversation last night just about trusting God. And it is something that is so simple, but man, it is so hard to do sometimes. We trust in the resources, the lagging indicators of what God will provide, but the leading indicator, with him being the source, we be like, I don't know, right? But we spend a lot of time, to your point, in church, learning about the source, but not applying the source to our lives so that the resources that he gives them, they can be used as vehicles to bless other people.
Bingo.
Right? And so, like what you said, I think, Ben, is so key. When I decided to be an owner operator, I had a similar conversation, and I wasn't worried about them before me. I was worried about going like, man, I'm gonna make way more money doing this. And somebody who one of my best friends, I'll never forget, he said, TJ, what's your number? No, he said, how much is enough?
Yep.
So, well, I don't understand. He said, if you're going to make more money, maybe than you ever made in your life, you need to figure out what's enough so you'll stay focused on why you're doing the work. Because if it ever becomes about the resource, then you will lose your why for the work. And the thing that made it special to you, and the thing that you want to create to make it special for your team, and the thing you want them to create to make it special for the guests, you will lose all that and focusing on the wrong thing. And so I think sometimes people go into their careers focused on resources and not go into their calling focused on the source and allowing him to worry about the resources so that we can be effective in doing the work that God actually created us to do, which is not making enough money for us to spend on ourselves for ourselves. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life. Don't hear me say that, right? But stewardship is important of our time and our talent. And when Jesus tells a story about the story of the talents, 3 people got 3 different things and did very different things with them. One person buried the talent, one person did a little, one person done a lot. It's very interesting that the person that had the most did the most, and then Jesus said, I'm gonna give you more of it. So like, whatever God has blessed being with, to whom much is given, much is required. Doesn't make your life easier. It actually means that you are now more responsible because I've given you more to do with. And so like in our communities, there's so many people who have so much, especially in this country, African Americans who have so much that they can do. And some people are doing some of it. Man, but like, have we really put our foot down and said, you know what, enough is enough?
Right.
I'm tired of our schools not performing because these kids are smart.
Yes.
Shout out to my Chick-fil-A Wesley Chapel Road team. I have amazing students, amazing parents, amazing young adults who are in these schools getting it. And I tell them, like, you going to make good grades, or I'm going to call your parent and tell them you can't work here. I will do that because it's just that important to me. Education for me became the vehicle, again, a resource that God used to create opportunity to me that I would I wouldn't have had. So I understand the importance. And so like, I think those are the things that we need, like young entrepreneurs. If you're 16 and you're 17, you're 18, wherever you are in life, like if you're going to school and you don't have the discipline to do your homework and make good grades, don't tell me you want to be an entrepreneur. You just want to make a lot of money. I get it. But you don't have the discipline to do the thing that God has given you on a small level. So how can you be responsible for 100, 200 people when you can't discipline yourself? And these are the same conversations I have with my kids, right? These are the same conversations that I have with my team. These are the same conversations I have with myself. I've messed it up too. And God be like, hey man, you need to tighten up. Absolutely right. I do. Because we're all imperfect. And like, God isn't looking for perfection. God is looking for faithfulness and progress. So many people in the Bible. We look at the stories of the Bible, and I'm going to end on this. I know we're long. I'm sorry.
No, we good.
It's just the reason why I love God and I love the Bible so much, because it is scandalous. If you read it, it's scandalous, man.
It's a story.
And God he's not hiding the insecurities, the depravity,
right,
the lack of, like, he's not hiding that from us. Man after woman, like, of just failure and falling and slip-ups and problems and issues and through the whole story, right? But we got 66 books of a redemption story of God taking all of that, taking his son, putting it all on him and saying, like, hey, I'm going to take all that on for you because I love you so much that I'm calling you back to myself. God is the ultimate hunter. He's the ultimate hunter. And so, like, because it becomes about love, not conditional, unconditional, there's nothing that Ben can do that will change the love that I had for him before he even knew who I was. Like, man, if we could love like that. Unconditionally. So, like, my hope or my challenge to everybody watching this podcast is, like, live and love unconditionally in who God called you to be, and focus on him and allow him to work out all the things that you're worried about.
Man. TJ, I appreciate you, man, more than you know.
Man, I enjoyed it.
The brotherhood,
Absolutely.
the support, being able to still have a strong bond and relationship with you, because you are the definition of a true hunter, and you're somebody that really cares, I mean, immensely cares. And that is invaluable to a mid-30-year-old man that's trying to just figure it out and balance marriage and raising kids and having a career and trying to be a hunter every single day and trying to stay fit and all the things. So I know where this will land with people that will consume the information. So I'm just grateful for your time. I also know, and you're not looking at it like this, but for me, I'm always doing people's bill rates, and your bill rate is very, very high. Obviously, you ain't charged me for your time, but but I'm grateful, man. I'm just grateful for a relationship. I'm grateful for your character and who you are, and I'm grateful for how you continue to lean into me. So thank you.
Man, my pleasure. And thank you for having me, man. I've enjoyed the brotherhood. I've enjoyed, again, getting to know you over these last few years, man. It's been a blessing to me and something that I need more of in my life, man. So I appreciate you constantly leaning in. I appreciate you doing things like this. I appreciate you pursuing and you pushing yourself in and out of your comfort zone. You did leave me now as my ops lead. Like, I hate to say that on camera, but the man did leave me. He hang out way more in England than he do on 2452. But it's all good, man. But just where your career's going, where your life's going, man, I just want to continue to add value, to be a resource for you, man. And I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to see where God is taking you and taking We Rest on Sunday. So shout out for you doing this, man. This is so well needed. This was so much fun. Like, this hour went by so quick. I'm like, man, we just getting started.
It won't be the last time, man.
Right.
Yeah,
Awesome,
but
man.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
I appreciate you per usual.
Yeah, man.